It's Thursday, March 25. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Essential workers should expect reduced service from the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, during the weekend lockdowns and the Easter holiday. JUTC's Corporate Communications Manager Cecil Toms says the schedules have been posted on the company's website and social media pages, and commuters may call customer care if they have queries or concerns. He is also urging Jamaicans to wear their masks on the buses during commute. Last Sunday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced 3 consecutive weekend lockdowns. Here's the latest COVID-19 clinical management summary. A 75-year-old senior citizen from St. Elizabeth has become the 546th person to die from COVID-19 on the island. Also, 458 new COVID-19 positives were recorded. This pushes the overall case count to 37,128, with 19,589 active cases. In the parish breakdown, 183 positives were reported in Kingston and St. Andrew, 100 in St. Catherine, and 39 in Clarendon. Over in St. Elizabeth, 21 cases were found, while Trelawney had 18, Portland 17, Hanover and St. James 16, Westmoreland 14. Manchester recorded 12 new cases, St. Mary 11, St. Thomas 6, and St. Anne had 5. In the meantime, 121 recoveries were noted by health authorities, pushing that tally to 16,739. At this time, there are 429 persons hospitalized. 54 patients are moderately ill and 44 are critical. Across the island, one of the most vulnerable groups, or seniors, are being inoculated against COVID-19. On Monday, March 22, the Health and Wellness Ministry opened the portal for registration for persons 75 years and older to get the AstraZeneca vaccine. The portal is available on the ministry's website at www.moh.gov.jm. Persons may also register by phone at the COVID-19 vaccine hotline by calling 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. Our news team caught up with seniors in St. Thomas as they ventured out to get the vaccine.
The Yalas Health Center is a designated vaccination center in St. Thomas. When we visited the center, we saw seniors waiting for their jabs. We spoke with a few of them after they had been vaccinated.
I've taken it because I know this is the best thing to do, and there's nothing to it, right? It's not even as bad as a bee sting.
It was a very good experience. I came early, and so I was able to be processed and to be accommodated to get my vaccine, which I am very happy to say I received. And the persons here, the personnel, the nurses, everybody, the doctor, everybody has been wonderful.
I take the vaccine. I took easy to get it. So I will very happy with it and will enjoy others to take it for themselves.
There were no complaints of any adverse effects.
There's nothing to it. And when you think of all the benefits, right, so far I haven't had any ill feeling about it, so everything is okay. And it's the good thing is I know about vaccine because I was a nurse, so I know this is the right thing to do.
Would say everybody should take this because it's a serious matter. Okay, I remember back in 1951 when I was a schoolboy and I took the polio injection And I always say to myself, the needle was like knitted needle. Huge thing, right? You got it in your hip, and up to 2 days later, you had pain, you couldn't walk. So when I see the needle now compared to that, I know it would be painful. Even if it's painful, it is absolutely necessary.
Also, the seniors admonished everyone to take the vaccine.
When you going to take yours?
Well, when they say it's the time for the young people.
All right, be first in the land.
To date, 546 people have died from the COVID-19 pandemic. A disproportionate number of those fatalities have been seniors. It is no wonder then that this demographic has been targeted for priority vaccination right behind frontline healthcare workers and members of the security forces. Melvin Pennant, PBCJ News.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada, and United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres have agreed on a collaborative global approach to fight COVID-19 and its effects on the global economy. According to a press release from the Office of the Prime Minister, the leaders of the UN initiative aim to bolster economic recovery with strategy. The OPM says the matter was discussed on Tuesday ahead of the United Nations high-level meeting on international debt architecture and liquidity, which is scheduled to take place on March 29. Debt and liquidity issues and the unique challenges faced by small island developing states were items discussed. The leaders also agreed on the importance of safe and effective vaccines and fast-tracking the inoculation process. The discussions ended with leaders reaffirming the need for strong international cooperation on financing for development. The government plans to establish diplomatic relations with 2 countries in Africa, as well as a number of Pacific Island states. The details were disclosed at Wednesday's post-cabinet press brief by Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Favour Williams.
Cabinet gave approval for the establishment of diplomatic relations with the Republic of Liberia and the Togolese Republic. Jamaica has consistently sought to deepen relations with countries in Africa, given the shared historical connections. It is important for Jamaica to diversify its bilateral partnerships as a means of broadening the scope of engagement and the pursuit of opportunities for increased trade, investment, and political collaboration, as well as technical and economic cooperation.
As it relates to the Pacific Island states, Minister Williams explains Jamaica's aim to establish a greater presence in that part of the world.
Cabinet also gave approval for the establishment of diplomatic relations with the Pacific Island states of the Republic of Kiribati, the Republic of the Marshall Islands, the Republic of Palau, the independent state of Samoa, the Kingdom of Tonga and Tuvalu. The establishment of diplomatic relations with these countries will cement Jamaica's strategic plans to establish a greater presence in and intensify relationships with small island developing states of the Pacific. It will also provide opportunities for the diversification of Jamaica's bilateral economic, technical, and cultural cooperation portfolio, given the shared similarities and challenges in population, climate, and socio-political structures.
Minister Williams says there is scope for cooperation in multiple areas, including environment, health, hazard mitigation, disaster resilience, education, agriculture, and fisheries.
The formalization of relations with these countries will serve to deepen the bonds of friendship and cooperation in the political and technical fields.
Motorists will get an ease at the pumps this week. We get this and other market news from Carl Francis at the business desk for Gabriel Thompson.
In Wednesday's trading session, the following reflects the movement of the JSE indices. The JSE All Jamaican Composite Index advanced by 1,000 points to close at 430,000 points. The junior market index advanced by 5.6 points to close at just under 3,000 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 51 stocks, of which 23 advanced, 18 declined, and 10 traded firm. Market volume amounted to 11.1 million units, valued at over $193 million. Symphony Group Limited was the volume leader with 1.9 million units, followed by Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 1.5 million units, and Proven Investments Limited with 1.3 million units. On Wednesday, March 24, the US dollar ended trading at $145.86, down by 49 cents, according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily exchange trading summary. Meanwhile, the Canadian dollar ended trading at $117.12, up from $117.08, while the British pound sterling ended trading at $203.36, up from $201.47. The euro ended the trading day at $172.57, having lost $4.28. Motorists will get an ease at the pumps today. Gas prices will go down by $3.06. The state-owned oil refinery Petrojam says E1087 will now sell for $135.44 per litre, and a litre of E1090 will sell for $138.27. Automotive diesel oil will move down by $3.06 per litre to sell for $127.50. Ultra-low sulfur diesel will sell for $131.90, following a decrease of $3.06. The price of kerosene will go down by $3.06 to sell for $101.78. In the meantime, propane cooking gas will go down by $2.08 to sell for $44.40, while butane will move down by $2.94 to sell for $53.62 per litre. Retailers will add their respective markups. On the global stage, oil turned lower after rallies spurred by the blockage of the Suez Canal fizzled. Brent crude oil futures lost $1.78 to sell for $62.63 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude oil futures sold for $59.38 a barrel after losing $1.80. And that's the business report. I'm Carol Francis in for Gabriel Thompson.
In regional news, the health minister in Barbados says the number of persons that are being tested for COVID-19 have decreased sharply. We get more from Barbados today.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is monitoring the substantial drop-off in the number of people getting tested for COVID-19. That's according to Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George, who said that the reluctance of Barbadians to come forward was one of the main reasons for the reduction in numbers. Between March 16th and 23rd, only 3,527 tests were conducted at the Best dos Santos laboratory, resulting in 124 positive cases. The figure pales in comparison to the number of tests that were carried out during the month of January.
So the testing has declined, we believe, for many reasons. People are more probably in the vaccine mode and in the testing mode. But the persons just are scared to get the positive result. But we need to test more. We have found that the levels of testing have been diminishing or decreasing, and that is why we did community-based testing, and we continue to do community-based testing. Because only at a community-based level can we go into communities and do testing to encourage people to be tested. Because people are not coming forward in the numbers as before to be tested.
The Bahamas government is to purchase the Grand Bahama International Airport for $1. However, the Dr. Hubert Minnis administration will have to spend $50 million to fix up the airport. The matter drew contention at Tuesday's Parliament sitting. Jasmine Brown of OUR News gives us the details.
The tourism minister led debate on the Airport Authority Amendment Bill 2021, which seeks to make several amendments to the original act to provide for the acquisition, management, and control of the GBIA and its relationship with the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
And this minister-led administration and this Minister of Aviation is of the view that the airport in Freeport, the gateway into Grand Bahama, should be owned by the government.
He revealed that the purchase price may be low, but the investment needed to get it back up to scratch will cost up to $50 million.
Purchase price is $1, plus the assumption of a portion of staff-related costs, plus the assumption of a portion of staff-related costs, which should not exceed $1 million.
D'Aguilar said the government is looking to enter into a public-private partnership for the rebuilding, but before that happens, he says the government will spend about $1.5 million on repairs to improve the facility in the short term. The airport, owned by Hutchison Port Holdings and Port Group Limited, sustained significant flood and wind damage as a result of Hurricane Dorian in September 2019. D'Aguilar said he expects the purchase to be completed very shortly, adding once the sale is finalized, the asset will be transferred to the Airport Authority, which will create a special purpose vehicle to operate and redevelop the airport.
You've allowed a foreign investor to take all the cream and leave us with the burden in this country. And I believe, and I don't know, but I believe there's even more burden because you've not laid that heads of agreement in this parliament. We do not know what you have agreed to further burden the Bahamian people.
She also accused the government of allowing Hutchison to run off with the insurance money.
Once the acquisition of the Freeport International Airport bill, which we're debating here, is passed in the parliament, Hutchison would have successfully offloaded/dumped two economically challenging entities that were expected to grow and prosper under the hands of the giant. Hutchinson wanted out and waited for the moment. And it's the same government who let them take the insurance money and run.
There is still a lot more to be revealed about the sale, and D'Aguilar says the Minutes administration will be revealing more as time goes on. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
The Ministerial Task Force in Trafficking in Persons just hosted a two-day workshop to finalize the 2021-2023 National Action Plan for the Prevention and Response to Trafficking in Persons in Guyana. The workshop is set to develop a program that will filter to every agency that deals with trafficking in persons. Newsroom Guyana's Sheena Henry reports.
Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vindia Prasad, in her opening remarks emphasized the importance of the workshop being approached from a multidisciplinary and multi-stakeholders standpoint, as the ministry has focus of tabling legislation in Parliament as well as updating its regulations within the legislation.
Today, as you embark on this conversation that is so necessary and so important as we continue to work towards the maintenance of our Tier 1 status, I want to say that we must, even so, overemphasize the importance of training. And through the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, we will be placing much emphasis on training in anti-tip.
Through the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, forestry officers, police ranks, customs officers, community policing groups, local government authorities, accounts and administrative staff of the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, transport operators, and members of civil society will be trained. The minister further went on to say that the campaign and training will be done in foreign and indigenous languages.
We believe that awareness needs to be out there because trafficking in persons can be considered invisible. It's called modern-day slavery because persons lose all of their rights when they are embraced in the grip of a trafficker. And trafficking in persons has no age limit, no discrimination when it comes to gender or race, and we need to recognize it, expose it, but more importantly, report it.
Meanwhile, Minister of Home Affairs Robeson Ben said that human trafficking regulations need to be looked at with respect to human smuggling, and that it is of the ministry's view to also deal with human trafficking in relation to people smuggling and who victims come into contact with.
We reduced the number of places where obviously it's going on. We will reduce the number of confrontations and other issues, and of course we increased the number of persons brought before the courts, brought to justice in respect of trafficking in persons.
Recently, the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security Counter Trafficking in Persons Unit held a training workshop to help traffic ranks identify cases of trafficking in persons. The ministry in 2020 recorded 225 victims of human trafficking. The ministry and the ministerial task force have over the years developed and implemented various initiatives to respond to the issue. For the newsroom, I am Sheena Henry.
In sports, we get into cricket. The first test between visitors Sri Lanka and hosts West Indies has entered day 4. For their second innings, Sri Lanka has posted 476 runs courtesy of Pathum Nissanka's debut century and Niroshan Nikwela's aggressive 96 solidified. This has left the West Indies with a challenging victory target of 375 in the test on the way in Antigua. And that's the news. Thanks so much for making it PBCJ. Remember, we are the People's Station.